When she says that she's marrying a tree, raise a glass in honour of Mrs. Elder. Send her well wishes and big kisses, say you're crazy, but be there anyway. You plant a seed in a garden so that you can watch it grow. Show future generations what can be built from nature. Every sprout shouts out against a drought of compassion. This is action. My name is Heidi. I'm a theatre maker, a poet and an environmental activist. I have suffered with climate anxiety. I've always been aware of the climate crisis as a problem, but it's only been in the last year or so that I've really started thinking about it in terms of like how it affects my day-to-day life and how my day-to-day actions affect it, and then what I can do in the wider world as well, and whether or not I can help.
Anxiety is a feeling of worry and nervousness, which we all experience, and it's actually very adaptive and helpful. If you look at it from an evolutionary perspective, we feel anxious if we see a large animal, and that protects us because we move away.
Be friendly, learn to love more, but above all keep going. We owe this earth our time. Feel the complexity of knots and roots inside you and stand tall. All of us are nature. I define climate anxiety as a worry for the future, for your future self, for the future of the world. It's like a general worry about all the things that could be.
I have to say I'm quite anxious. I find it difficult to be positive or optimistic.
Sometimes you just be like doing homework or doing something for school and you're like, is there any point? Should I do this? Like, could I just go to bed and just yeah.
I think the sense of powerlessness is often what causes the anxiety to become overwhelming in the face of thinking about climate change and climate anxiety.
I feel guilty that I only really worry about this in my own head, because I'm in a privileged place where it's still some kind of far-off issue. I'm not fighting the practicalities of it every single day, and there are people in the world that are, and I feel really guilty that I can't help them. When the weight of the world is resting on your shoulders, know that you are resting on the world. It will not fall from underneath you, will retrieve you from deep, dark spirals of space and leave you upright, breathing still.
It can feel very overwhelming, and individuals can feel like they have no control whatsoever.
You see it all over Instagram and it's like everything's happening and like this is dying and this is dying and just like, is there going to be anything left?
Any kind of career, any kind of future planning is really, really difficult when we just don't know what's going to happen or what's going to matter. All my life I've wanted to make theatre and perform, and I went away and studied that at university, and then I've come back and come into this activism world, and it's just like changed my perspective a little bit, because I think that as much as I love art and I love theatre, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, like while we're trying to fight this crisis. So I've had to kind of rethink my entire career, because there's no art on a dead planet.
Look, we're lucky enough, we probably won't be here to see it. Yeah. To be serious, yeah, we're in our 70s, so yeah, we might not be here to see it, but...
I remember worrying about this in the 1970s, I remember Neil Young singing.
Friends of the Earth and all that, and people have ignored it totally, and that's why it does need a huge thing globally.
Bloomed from roses, breathe and hold it. Your breath is a rebellion against our potential ending. Be friendly, learn to love more, but above all, keep going.
Well, I think climate change is having a major impact on people's mental health. And I mean, this is not the only issue, obviously, but I think for a lot of people, you know, they're worried about, should I have children? Am I going to bring up my children in a really difficult world?
So another big thing that's changed about my outlook is my future planning about family, because I've always just thought that I will grow up and get married and have kids. And now there's just, like, I don't want to bring a child into this world that is going to be ravaged by the climate crisis and potentially with like inequality and injustice. So it's just completely changed my outlook on that, like, and it's really hard and it's really sad to think about. Explain to others why we are here, why it is clear that we must act now. Act for your future, for your children's future and for their children's future. Act for your children's right to play outside, to play alive, to play at all.
When they're shouting out our future, we're saying your future. I think it's very, very important. We've got grandkids.
Boris Johnson, where are you?
We deserve a future too.
Boris Johnson, where are you?
We deserve a future too.
The government are doing the bare minimum, and in this country it really, really is the bare minimum. So historically the UK has a role to play in the causes of the climate crisis. So its root causes are colonialism and the Industrial Revolution and the spread of that across the world. So Britain has to lead the way on solving this crisis. We've literally got no excuse. Treat the earth as if you could keep it in your pocket. Know it is fragile and precious and perfect. It is worth every second of your time to try and save it.
To the young people only. We can't leave it to people who are going to do direct action. I think that every method is valid and everybody is different. So some people, they may be arrested by the police. Some people it may just be, talking to neighbours, etc. But I think that, whatever step you take, it's better than doing nothing, and we cannot afford to do nothing.
And I suppose in terms of dealing with climate anxiety, I think it's important to realise that we have some agency and that we can take small steps, which can be becoming involved in organisations around climate change, being careful about our own use of plastics and recycling and reducing fuel consumption and all of that, and not minimising the effect of that. It is small, but I think that is how change will come about, is through many people making small changes in their lives.
Only the power of an open mass movement can stop climate change. And all of you play a part in that movement, no matter who you are. Everyone is important. As important as each other, as Greta Thunberg said, no one is too small to make a difference.
I think community has a role to play, and I think that in general people's anxiety about climate would be greatly reduced if there was a sense that the whole community was working together to fight climate change and to change their behaviours and change so as to reduce the impact on the environment. I think that would be very reassuring to anybody who's anxious about climate. Yeah.
It's only feet on streets that's going to make the difference. People can Twitter on all day and like and dislike. It doesn't mean a thing. It's concrete actions that are going to make a difference. And seeing that there's a huge popular movement is going to make people sit up and take notice.
So the Earth itself isn't going to end, humanity will. If we continue doing this, the Earth won't disintegrate or anything, it's just that humanity will cease to exist. So if we want to save that, if it's worth saving, then we need to just think about our relationship to the Earth and our relationship to each other. You plant a seed in a garden so that you can watch it grow. Show future generations what can be built from nature. Every sprout shouts out against a drought of compassion. This is action. Laugh a lot, but remember why you're standing in that field, surrounded by wild flowers and wilder women. Bloom from roses, breathe and hold it. Your breath is a rebellion against our potential ending. Be friendly, learn to love more, but above all, keep going. We owe this earth our time. Feel the complexity of knots and roots inside you and stand tall. When the weight of the world is resting on your shoulders, know that you are resting on the world. It will not fall from underneath you, will retrieve you from deep dark spirals of space and will leave you upright, breathing still. Treat the earth as if you could keep it in your pocket. Know it is fragile and precious and perfect. It is worth every second of your time to try and save it. Climb trees. No, we cannot live without them. They breathe in what we breathe out. Love them. Marry them if you must. Create a sacred bond with the one thing that sustains us. Explain to people why we are here, why it is clear that we must act now. Act for your future, for your children's future and for their children's future. Act for your children's right to play outside, to play alive, to play at all. Love big and love small. Be a green-haired goddess, a wide-eyed wanderer. Grow fast.